people in other places, you may be ready. You may think you're ready. But this built-in pause is to allow other stuff to catch up. There are some places where maybe we're not completely ready. There's some additional work that needs to be done. Let them catch up. You might be the one that's in over your head in the next phase of launch program. So we're working together to make sure everybody gets a chance to get caught up. One thing I will add, if you think there's nothing going on behind the scenes, it's all boring. Watch what's going on with the quakes. Messages sent, messages received. It's a big deal. I'll leave that for another day. But we have real wars, and there's counter moves to dissipate energy so that it can't be a threat.
A TBM is 148 metres long and weighs 1,000 tonnes. This is the equivalent of 14 London buses end to end and a staggering 143 buses in weight. It has a rotating cutter head at the front and a series of trailers behind housing all the mechanical and electrical equipment. There are two types of TBM being used by Crossrail: earth pressure balanced TBMs and mix shield TBMs. 6 earth pressure balance machines will be used for the 18 kilometres of tunnel through the clay to the west and the riverbed deposits in the east, while 2 mix shield machines will be used to drive the tunnels through the chalk beneath the River Thames. Depending on the geology below and the buildings above ground, each TBM will travel between 90 and 150 metres each week, ending up to within a millimetre of where it needs to be. The first part of the TBM's work is the tunnelling phase. The earth pressure balance TBM has a cutting wheel which is pressed against the tunnel face by hydraulic cylinders. Inside the cutting wheel, the disc cutters and scraping tool loosen the material. If the earth is unstable, and to stop the tunnel face collapsing or digging too fast, the TBM uses the soil that has already been dug out by the cutting wheel to support the tunnel face. This creates a stable environment for the tunnelling to move forward. The tunnel face is continuously monitored by pressure sensors. They check the turning power of the cutting wheel and the screw conveyor, and they also keep track of the material that's been excavated. The material is then taken away on conveyor belts. Once the tunnelling phase is done, the cutting wheel and screw conveyor are stopped and the ring building phase starts. A complete tunnel ring consists of several lining segments made of pre-built reinforced concrete. These are made in a special factory above ground. They must match the exact size required and are taken into the tunnel on flatbed rail cars. The concrete segments are fed in by the segment feeder and lifted into place using a vacuum. The hydraulic cylinders are temporarily retracted in order to provide enough space for the new segment. The segments are positioned with millimetre precision and held in place by cylinders before being finally bolted into position. The conical keystone is put in from the front to complete the lining ring. Each individual tunnel ring is built in a slightly conical form. This means that curves can be built along the tunnel route by changing the direction of the cone. The hydraulic cylinders are extended again to secure the segment into position. During all this work, the people and machines are protected by the shield skin from the saturated ground where water is under pressure. All the readings are displayed on monitors in the central control cabin and fed back to the machine operator. Once each section of ring building is completed, the next tunnelling phase can start.
When the giant tunnel boring machine reached daylight at the south portal of Yucca Mountain's Exploratory Studies facility in 1997, it marked a major milestone, the completion of the main tunnel that loops beneath the mountain.
And that brings me back to the story about the 2,100 children rescued from their confinement underground in California. The rescue operation was executed by U.S. Marines who stormed underground bunkers and bases in California, where they rescued some 2,100 children, ages 3 to 17. The mission was conducted at night. There were 5 different locations. The U.S. military had PG&E shut off the electricity before the mission. The children were found in hell-on-earth conditions. My source, Pentagon One, used movie titles to describe it. Pentagon One referenced the movies It, The Matrix, Back to the Future, and The Wizard of Oz. The children were extracted and triaged. They were sent to hospitals and psychiatric centers. The Marines were extremely emotional about what they found. They blew up and burned the underground facilities so they could not be used again. It is going to be a nightmare trying to locate the parents of these children, Pentagon One said. An update by Pentagon One revealed that approximately 100 of the children are not expected to make it. There were arrests associated with this mission. Now to an aspect of this story that warrants a short silence and a standalone. Pentagon One said they believed most of the children were taken by Child Protective Services, CPS. That's pretty much the update on the kids. There's more tunnels. First of all, there's tunnels being, the U.S. military is going into these tunnels and bunkers all over the country. So just watch the earthquakes. Where you see there's earthquakes, those aren't really earthquakes. They're blowing those domes up. There's more tunnels than is being reported. There's more. The Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, for one, we've located more. There's more. And also, coming soon, you're going to learn about probably a great deal of the source of a lot of these babies and children in New York. The problem is, what our task force discovered is if we release it, it's a problem. It's being worked out, but if we release it, it's probably going to cause riots. It's unbelievable. It's global, but if I get into the details, we got to work that out. That's coming soon, though. We know how they did this, how they get a lot of these babies and kids and children, and it involves CPS. So that's what I'm going to say for now.
One thing I will add, if you think there's nothing going on behind the scenes, it's all boring. Watch what's going on with the quakes